Hi guys, this is Kivos and today we're gonna talk about 3 incredible stories. First, a woman frozen for hours but survived. Second, the luckiest, unluckiest man alive. And third, an unexpected way a boy saved his sister from kidnapping. Let's get into it. This woman was frozen alive for hours and survived. This is the crazy story of Jean Hillard, a 19-year-old woman from Langby, Minnesota. On the night of December 20th, 1980, after hanging out with friends, she got in her dad's truck and headed back home. The problem is that with Minnesota's cold winter nights, when she tried to take a shortcut on a gravel road, her dad's pickup truck that had no all drive or ABS slid right into a ditch. As her truck was unable to be driven, she took it upon herself to go and find some help. What she didn't know is that it was a big mistake. She knew her friends living nearby and she tried to reach him, but with the darkness of the night, she got lost a few times. It was 20 below that night, and what she didn't realize is that every extra minute she spent in that cold put her life in more and more danger. After 2 miles of walking in the dark and in the cold, she finally saw her friend's house, but it was too late. That's when everything went black. Although she had no recollection of it, she was able to crawl to her friend's yard right below his doorstep before losing consciousness. She was only found 6 hours later by her friend Wally Nelson. By then, her eyes were frozen wide open and she was stiff as a wooden table. Wally was shocked to see her there. He thought the worst had happened when he saw some bubbles coming out of her nose. To give you an idea of how frozen and stiff her body was, when he tried to load her in his truck, she wouldn't fit in the cab and he had to use someone else's car. When they arrived at the hospitals, the doctors did not have high hope for Jean. Her body was so frozen that even a syringe wasn't able to be put in her veins to give her some nutrients. In a last effort to try and save her life, they put some heating pads on her and started praying in circle around her bed with the pastor. As incredible as it sounds, the next morning she woke up and by noon was as coherent as the night before, with her only worry being her dad's truck being destroyed. That's the story of Jean Hillard. That is it for that story. Now let's get to the next one. This man might be the luckiest, unluckiest man alive. Howard Snitzer was a 54-year-old chef from Goodhue, Minnesota. One day in January of 2011, Howard was on his way to the grocery store, but he never made it. Just as he was about to arrive, he suddenly experienced a massive heart attack, went into cardiac arrest, and collapsed on the sidewalk. What follows though is probably the most unbelievable story of solidarity and unity. It's important to note that the town of Goodhue is very small, counting around 1,000 people, and the nearest hospital is around 60 kilometers away. The situation isn't looking good at all for him. But fortunately, just inside the grocery store, a clerk named Carol dialed 911 as soon as she saw him, and a customer named Candice rushed to his help. Across the street, 2 brothers, who also happened to be veteran first responder, were closing their auto shop when they heard a commotion and ran to help Howard. When the helpful customer, Candice, told one of the brothers, Al, that she couldn't feel a pulse, he started performing CPR along with the correctional officer that was also on the scene, Cone. But that was only the beginning of it. During that time, the other brother, Roy, rushed to the town's firehouse to get a truck and some gear. As time went by, several other first responders, including policemen, firefighters, came from other towns to come and join the rescue efforts. In total, more than 20 people took turns in the administration of chest compression for more than an hour and a half. During then, the rescuers tried on 11 different occasions to shock Howard while administering different drugs to try and normalize his heart, but to no avail. Nothing was working and they were starting to lose hope. At this point, the brain damage that Howard probably already experienced would give him no quality of life, and they began to doubt about the helpfulness of their rescue efforts. But despite that, they tried one last time. In a last-ditch effort, Bruce, the flight paramedic that had arrived on the scene, called an expert in the field, Dr. Roger White, to try and calculate an overdose of medication that would try and restart his heart. It would be their last effort at saving Howard. Surprisingly, it did work this time. After the massive combined effort of all rescuers, Howard's heart was beating normally again and he made a full recovery in a matter of a few days. That is the surprising story of Howard Snitzer. And now let's get to the last story. This boy saved his sister in the most unexpected way possible. Owen Burns is a 13-year-old boy from Alpena Township, Michigan. In the summer day of May 10, 2023, Owen was at home when his 8-year-old sister was playing in the backyard when all of a sudden he heard screams. He was horrified to see that someone had come out of the woods and grabbed his little sister while holding her mouth shut. Owen had always been a fan of precision shooting. He used to practice with toy guns that would shoot foam and baby guns. That skill would serve him greatly that day. Thinking quickly, he grabbed the only thing that he had around, a $3 slingshot that his mother brought him, and a marble. He opened his room's window and started shooting at the would-be kidnapper. With an insane precision, on his first shot from almost 200 feet away, he struck the suspect right on the forehead. Unhappy, the would-be kidnapper started to cuss, but Owen wasn't done. For his second shot, Owen grabbed the rock, shot it, and it landed right on his chest. At this point, the 17-year-old would-be kidnapper let go of his sister and ran back in the woods. Not only did Owen save his sister, but he unknowingly helped the police identify the suspect with a special clue. The 17-year-old, when found, had bruises that matched the marble and the rock on the forehead and the chest. Owen was later greatly acclaimed by his local community and many news stations, with a Michigan lieutenant praising his extraordinary quick thinking and accuracy. Despite that, Owen stayed humble, stating that he was only lucky that it was a big target and not the smaller Pepsi can he used to practice on. This is it for the incredible stories of this week. Thank you for listening. If you liked interesting stories like the one in this video, please subscribe and like the video. It helps greatly. And see you in the next one.